So today's all about, the book or obviously we read loads, people read loads of books or listen generally over their lifetime. So it's hard sometimes just to choose one book that has made a big impact for you, and also, how you've applied it. So we'll start off with, because Karen, you're on the top of the screen there. Would you like to share with us about, just tell us a brief summary about the book? Obviously, that's a well-known book we're all well aware of.
Yeah.
What did you learn from it, and how has it impacted you?
I've read it twice,
Yeah.
just to remind myself. And I think I probably will read it again. I'll definitely get my kids to read it as well. It's just one of those very grounding books to make men and women realise how different they are and accept that there's differences, particularly when you're in a relationship.
So my book is Start With Why. The author's Simon Sinek. I'm not too sure everyone's heard of him. He's basically like an inspirational coach, but he helps to, with his book of Start With Why, it helps to explain why some businesses do so well and explains why some businesses do so poorly. And it's actually based in our biology of why certain businesses will flourish and certain businesses they'll do well for a short period of time, but they absolutely plummet.
I've chosen Personality Plus by Florence Littau, and a lot of you won't know of her, but she's been around for many, many years. And I first came across that book probably about 20 years ago. And how some of you, if you haven't sort of done much personal development, you may not understand your personality style, but we are all different. And this goes into the 4 basic temperaments. And I found once I read that book, I could understand, well, I wasn't so crazy after all. There's a lot of people out there just like me, but it helped me understand myself better, but also how to understand others as well, and also how we like to communicate the different personality styles.
So the book I've chosen that's, I guess I've taken the most out of is the one behind me. I'm not sure, Dave, I think, has heard of it, and Trent might have. I'm not sure who has heard of it, but it's a really, really good book. It's basically a book just on mindset and the way that David Goggins, I guess, he's got to the position where he is at the moment. For those who don't know, he was a Navy SEAL, ultra marathon runner and everything like that. And it just talks about the crazy, I guess, challenges he goes through. And yeah, I've just taken a lot of lessons out of that, and not only just read them, but tried to apply them in my life, whether it be through a footy game, just, day-to-day habits and stuff like that. So
here is the power of now.
Yeah.
I know when I started to, this inner development, I knew a lot of things, but it didn't make sense. And this book put it together.
About 30 years ago, my whole job is around communication, right? And I sell stuff, so I have to find common ground with people very quickly. And the only way to do that, the mentor I mentioned last week said to me, you need to have a mind of useless information that you can call upon at any time. And to do that, he recommended that we read all the newspapers at the time we could get our hands on for 30 minutes every morning.
At the moment, I'm reading Crushing It by Gary Vee. I just sort of started to read it, sort of started to gain a bit of interest in entrepreneurialism stuff lately. And it's helped to show how people can influence people without having anxiety about what their fears are, or what other people think, or things like that.
So for me, the book that I really want to speak about was Ando's The Happiest Refugee.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it or read it. Has anyone been to his shows or anything like that?
just watched him on TV. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So particularly with the book, it's something that this is sort of my sort of genre of self-help in terms of anything I read outside of the sort of factual physio-related research, which I spend probably too much time on, tends to be a lot of stories about hardship. I tend to steer and sort of gravitate towards someone that's come out of something that's a struggle. They started with nothing and sort of built their way up, versus someone who sort of been given everything, been successful, and sort of had that sort of smooth sailing.
And the other one is Inventing Ourselves, getting back to neuroscience. This particular book helps us understand that the structures of the brain are still in the process of development when they're teenagers. It's unique. It's different to childhood. Go through your different stages. The brain changes at 7 and it changes again at 13 or 14. There was a theory about developmental stages every 7 years, and this certainly supports it.